Still have my sunglasses on. Oh, well, whatever. It's cash. Okay, well, good evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm Suzanne Cohen, the Managing Artistic Director of Mirror Stage. My pronouns are she, her, and I want to welcome you to the second installment of Mirror Stage's Contexpo series. This evening's open mic is being live streamed on Mirror Stage's YouTube channel, so we're happy that some people can join us from near and far who couldn't be with us here in person tonight. We'd like to start by acknowledging that we live, work, and play on unceded territory. We honor with gratitude the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish and Coast Salish tribes, as well as their centuries of stewardship and care for the land itself. Indigenous communities are very much still here, and this acknowledgement serves as a first step in honoring the traditional lands we occupy and as an act of resistance against the erasure of their histories. We would also like to thank For Culture, Arts Fund, Washington State Arts Commission, the City of Seattle Office of Arts and Culture, the EPS Fund, Humanities Washington, the National Endowment of the Arts, the National Endowment of the Humanities, Phinney Neighborhood Association, and the Posner-Wallace Foundation for their support in making Contexpo possible. If you would like to help support this program, you can make a donation on the Mirror Stage website at yes, I know our website address. Yes. It's mirrorstage.org. So that's mirrorstage.org/donate to make a donation. You can also scan the QR code that we have in the lobby. We'll get the other one for in here, because you can also sign up for the e-news or get information about volunteering to help with future Contexpos or other Mirror Stage programs and events. By doing that, the e-news is the best way for us to keep you apprised about what's coming next. Mirror Stage's mission is to use the power of storytelling to challenge assumptions, bias, and prejudice, increasing equity and inclusion while encouraging more thoughtful reflection on today's issues. Contexpo is a series of events featuring community artists, including visual art, spoken word, special speakers, and workshop components, taking a deeper dive into themes relevant to our upcoming productions. And the theme we are exploring this weekend is veterans and PTSD. Hosting this evening's opening mic is Miz Floes. Miz Floes is a vocalist, author, producer, playwright, actress, and spoken word artist living in Seattle. She grew up in inner city Chicago, surrounded by violence and poverty, and credits the literary arts for saving her. As a woman, mother, grandmother, and member of the BIPOC community, she seeks to transform pain into art and productively release it back into the community. Her newest volume of poetry will be released soon. Let's give Miz Floes a warm welcome and get this open mic started.
How's everyone? There's so many of you here. Can everybody hear me? So I wrote a piece specifically for the night. I have more than one piece, but I have one that I wrote specifically. I'm gonna grab my glasses. The title is PTSD. I fought no wars, neither on domestic nor foreign soil. Yet the gravity of this lifetime's pain rips through the very fabric of my mind. I've agonizing memories that stunt my social growth. I'm not an outsider, yet I don't feel as if I belong. Paranoid, tired, scared, depressed, PTSD. So many visions that I can't unsee. Loss of appetite, sleep deprivation, conversation is not an option. Hush! I don't want your diagnosis. I don't want to hear labels like psychotic, tyrant, schizophrenic, deranged, PTSD. Embarrassed, I was unable to defend myself. I couldn't muster the courage to protect myself. My stolen virtue, broken dreams, halted action, severe social dysfunction, public breakdowns. I should be able to wear whatever clothing I want. Damn your opinions and your acceptance. Freedom says I can speak my mind and express myself, and no means no. Only a shell of the woman I once was. Dampened ascension. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Peace. I felt weird when I wrote that because I was like, they're going to clap, and should we clap for that? I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, if it makes you feel good, it brings some laughter for me to say stuff about it, it's working. So this next piece is untitled. Bipolar, melancholic, and post-traumatic stress disorders, schizophrenia, manic depression, psychosis, whatever the diagnosis, I feel trapped. Like a wall, like every wall in the entire world is closing in on me. I got no room, I can't breathe. And try as I might, I cannot escape confusion. Inner demons eat at me daily. The voices never stop. Even when I say, be quiet, they never stop. Through my psychosis, I observe close family members battling addictions while they're still in my prescriptions. There's so many in misery connected to me, and they're leaning on my fragile shoulders, my left and my right. I've even got to fight their battles. I want to say get off my back, but I'm afraid that if I do that, something bad will happen, and they're my family. And for whatever reason, they all feel like they need me when I'm actually losing my sanity. My mental has been altered. I'm wearing depression like an accessory to my wardrobe, like a scarf fit for every occasion. It wraps tightly around my neck, squeezing tighter daily, choking the will to live right out of me. The other day, as I was driving on the on-ramp to the freeway, just prior to reaching the top, I stopped. I thought about driving off. It seemed like a quick and easy way to put an end to the pressures that constantly surround me. I just wanted to ease my mental. But I promised Granny that I would never do that. So instead, I drove onto the freeway. I pulled over to the shoulder, and I got out and just sat there on the ground in the middle of the freeway, protesting. Despite the fact that there was no scheduled protest that day, I protested anyway, because it just isn't fair to be targeted due to the hue or the texture of my hair. I have rights, and I'm human and American too. And if I want others to treat me fairly, sitting in the middle of this freeway, that's what I need to do. It sounded like a great idea when it first came to mind. When I tried to articulate that to those in blue, my thoughts got scattered, and all that mattered was the song that played over and over in my head. So I said, I know some places and I seen some faces. I got good connections. I dig my directions. What people say, that's okay. They don't bother me. I was singing my song. Didn't even realize that those in blue had approached until I got maced. Maced me in my face. They threw me in the back of the patrol car and took me to jail. I needed help for my mental, not to be caged. My mental had been modified, and all at the same time, I laughed and cried. If I received the assistance as opposed to a sentence, that care I may have received may have prevented me from running through the park that afternoon with that carving knife. I really thought I was in a fight for my life. I swore that man with evil eyes was running toward me at top speed. Now that hallucination started inside the kitchen of my apartment unit. I was prepping my meal when I saw him. I took off running for the front door. He was chasing me. I ran as fast as my legs allowed. The park was the first place I thought to go. I lived just across the street. I left home running so fast I didn't even have shoes on my feet. I never heard the screams of my neighbors or the others that knew me that were there in the park. Yet every face I passed as I ran was electric with fright. Suddenly, my body was shocked with a sharp and quick pain, and everything went dark. Anyone and everyone who knew me was aware that I needed clinical assistance. Even I myself was aware. Look, I was even scared. I'm mentally prepared. I mean, literally afraid. Every day I made a call to see where I was on the list. But without adequate insurance, I had to seek treatment where no copayment was due, which meant there were many hoops to jump through, plenty of red tape, and bureaucratic waits. I tried to get assistance, but the system is broken and now it's too late. Some illnesses can't be cured with a pill. Some illness is mental. May we all heal. Peace. I don't even have to go over there. Please keep your applause going for Ty. He's going to come and bless us with some adult content, not intended for children. One more time for Ty.
Thank you, thank you. I'm so glad for that disclaimer because, this piece is called No Sides. 60 bullets hit a nigga from a cop gun, damn. Think we should fire the squadron, and you might say, well, why run? That fear grip so tight a nigga might come to. My motherfucking senses for the night comes, but I doubt it. Mine way too clouded. Today I'm bout it. Run up on me, try to write one. Might fight one, get a brother life done quick. Death, jail, murder, let me take my pick. When that's all they hope for us, ain't that a bitch? There's nowhere to go without taking the risk that I'm gonna fit the description. Wrongful conviction or murdered in my own hood. Far from home, but I feel it's for my own good. Gun them down, leave a rubber where the throne stood. Take our crown, build our cross with our own wood. Say it gotta be another way. Gotta watch my people suffer just another day. I wonder when we gonna break. I'm trying not to run away. And where the hell I'd even go? Ask me another day. I already said enough today. I roll one up and levitate. An indica to ease my body cause it's getting late. I hope I dream about this money that I'm finna make. But black bodies plague my mind, Billie Holiday. The government, a kill a nigga, give a holiday. That's how they grieve, how smoothly they breathe with no noose or knee or chain upon their neck. Way this shit going, best stock up on latex. I digress. Media been too tough to digest the beef well done. Applaud your efforts to divide us, you damn near won. They got us shooting up the ghettos and we can't run. The other side got manifestos. It's 2 on none. Damn. Thank you.
Very nice. So this next piece is not along the same theme, but it's a piece I want to share. Statistics have been done that more than 50% of post-traumatic stress disorder is related to rape of some kind. Molestation at home, in the prisons, date rape, etc. This piece takes us back to when it wasn't called rape. True story. Thinking about past lives, tweaked my DNA, altered bloodlines. But that was another time. It was a time of no choice and no voice. Okay, guilty I be, yes, it was me. I shook that sycamore tree, searching for my melanated ancestry. This here be a tidbit of her story, because history is told often. Once upon a time, she had no choice. No choice. Way back when all ears fell deaf to the sound of her voice. That's back when the age of advancement was a mere 9. Back when they did whatever they wanted to the women of my bloodline, the women of my bloodline. For over 200 years, this black blood, sweat, and tears. Predating the Facebooker, the Instagram influencer, the TikToker, and the Snapchatter. Back when you would have been hung right after they sliced out your tongue for uttering the mere words, Black Lives Matter. Baby girl would have surely grown wings and flown away if she could have, to escape the day that they took her virtue away. This here be the story of my 5th great paternal grandmother, Minty. Minty was not allowed to use her Mississippi Choctaw tone. There were many others like her. In her suffrage, she certainly did not stand alone. Now, this is my life. I am a positive representation of Minty's bloodline. Yet I live here in a different time when I can speak my mind. I make my own choice, and I'm always using my voice. Today I have the freedom to say that no matter the skin color, every baby girl should be nurtured, loved, and raised up right by her mother, not some other she was sold away to. And even they were supposed to clothe and feed her, not serve her up to suffer rape at the hands of Maz's breeder. She's got no understanding now of true love. She's never heard a kind word. You see, once upon a time, she was regarded as property. Now, at present date, her descendants, they're purchasing property. Too bad Grandma Minty never lived to see the time when she could speak her mind. She'd be so thankful for today, when no means no and a woman's rights are recognized. Silent cries are now being heard. Women are voting, purchasing property, making their own choices. Word. She chooses who she goes to bed with. Damn Massa and his breeder. I said, damn Massa and that goddamn breeder. Wow. Makes my mind travel to a time of pain, and it's hard to stay sane. But that was another time. And that breeder was actually Big Jim Gibson, fifth great grandfather of mine. He put the Choctaw in my bloodline. Yeah, I think about past times. Ancestors of mine. Dreadful memories, bloodline fusions. Truly, it was a heinous crime to deflower a child at the age of 9 in that unholy transatlantic time. That's an unfortunate story for any descendant to tell, but hell, I ain't mad. Her story has power. It's power that should be shared so that future generations are educated, grateful, and prepared. Every woman's rights are in jeopardy today. A big decision was made, that overturning of Roe versus Wade. Now somebody plant that seed I just watered. Help the freedom grow. Stop the slow. Stand up and use your voice and state your choice. Guard the oral antiquity of your ancestral history like the Holy Grail. Good or bad, I ain't mad. Hell, I shook that sycamore and some leaves of knowledge fell. Peace. Was there someone else that wanted to share? Oh. So put your hands together for Suzanne. She's coming to share.
Okay, so this is going to be more of a rambling kind of a story, monologue. I hadn't really prepared anything formal, but I was diagnosed with PTSD 3 years ago. I had suffered a major depressive episode at the end of 2017, and it wasn't the first, but I hadn't had a major depressive episode in a really, really long time. And there were a host of other physical health issues that came along with it. I was struggling a lot. And so then in 2019, I was working with my therapist, and she said, you know, it sounds like you have PTSD. And she was somebody who had worked at the VA for 30 years, and PTSD was one of her specialties. So I took it pretty seriously, although at first I thought, that doesn't sound right. I'm not a veteran. I haven't fought in wars. I have friends who have, and who have suffered PTSD as a result of what happened when they were overseas. And I thought, no, I come from a place of privilege. My life has been easy, so how could I possibly suffer from PTSD? And then the more that we talked about it and traced back a number of different things that had happened over the course of my life, a number of traumatic events, that some of which at the time I brushed aside because as a woman you're supposed to just be strong and keep on, and or you couldn't say anything, or you might not be believed. So sometimes it's easier to just keep your head down and not say anything, but those things stay with you. The story, there's a couple of different trauma stories that I could tell, but I think, okay, so one of the earliest actually was the first time that my parents left my sister and I alone without a babysitter. And somebody tried to break into the house. And I've always been a night owl. I never liked going to sleep, never liked going to bed. At bedtime, nobody in the history of time could get me to go to bed on time except my sister. My sister made me go to bed. So I started tapping on the wall and making noises, and basically being an obnoxious, bratty younger sister, because I think I was all of 10 or 11. Yeah, 9 or 10. And she was, oh, knock it off, knock it off. Okay. And so eventually I got bored, and I rolled over and I fell asleep. And my sister came bursting into the room and said, stop it. And I said, what? I'm not doing anything. She said, yes, stop making the noise. And I said, I'm not, see? And we both heard the scratching at the door. And my sister was so scared, her teeth literally started chattering. And we grabbed a blanket off my bed, and we were creeping down the hall. And we got to the front door. That wasn't where the noise was coming from. And that's not the door that we usually use. We usually use the kitchen door. So we got really low because there was a bay window in the kitchen that we had passed by, so didn't want anyone to see, and got to the kitchen door, and I threw open the door, and I could see somebody running down the driveway because there was a street light at the end of our driveway. So my sister still was chattering, too scared to really speak, and I picked up the phone and I called the mother of a friend who lived half a block away. And she said, well, it's 9:30, I'm in my pajamas, just call the police. Okay, so I dialed 911, and I spoke with the dispatcher, and they sent 2 squad cars. And she was kind enough to stay on the phone with me until they arrived. And so then when my parents arrived home, there were 2 police cars in the driveway. So they were terrified of what had happened. And as we were walking through the house, the police had pointed out that the doors to the basement were especially vulnerable. And so my parents had installed deadbolt locks, but for several years afterwards, anytime that I was alone in the house and I would hear a creaking noise, I would freeze. And I had escape routes mapped out in my head of what I would do, my mother had a second phone line in her office, and I could take that phone into the closet with me and hide in there and call the police. And I had a heavy trauma response every time I was alone in the house. And houses make noise, houses settle. It was many, many years before I could be in the house alone. And I didn't think of that really, I didn't realize the traumatic effect that it had on me until much later, until it was compounded by a number of other traumas. And so, yes, it made sense to me, finally, the PTSD diagnosis, and that for many reasons. So even though I come from a place of privilege and have had a very easy life compared to most, there are things that have haunted me in ways that has kept my adrenaline system out of control. So being on hyper alert and constantly, any noise or any sound, or especially when there's things that trigger a response from some of the incidents that had happened. For nearly 10 years, when a street light would flicker, I would have nearly a panic attack. I didn't realize it was a panic attack at the time because I was still standing. I didn't fall over, or I wasn't completely incapacitated, but my heart would start beating and I would freeze. So PTSD is something that's real. You don't have to have fought in a war. But for many of the veterans out there, PTSD is a real thing as well, because of things that they experienced, that they saw, that they were exposed to, and the way that our systems adjust to being constantly on high alert. It's a really, really difficult thing. So I'm just kind of rambling now. So I'm going to wrap up. But I do want to also mention that we're going to be having a yoga and mindfulness workshop tomorrow at 1 p.m. And mindfulness is one of the things that has really helped me in dealing with my PTSD, and to not be on high alert all the time, and to be able to deal with situations more calmly again. And that was when I started to realize that there were things that I would have been able to take in stride without a problem 5-10 years ago, but that gave me panic attacks where I literally was like, I have to get out of here right now. That's when I realized, like, yes, it's really a problem, and I need to do what I can to take it seriously and to heal. So I hope that everybody else out there who does suffer from PTSD, that you're able to find the support that you need, because what you're experiencing is real. And there are ways that you can cope, that you can heal, that things can be easier to deal with, and the help is out there. So I hope you're able to find it.
Thank you so much, Suzanne, for sharing, letting us into your personal space, because that's difficult. And I'll share that, like I said, every piece that I shared is real for me. Those I write from the heart and from experience. So those things are real for me. When I say that was my 5th grade grandmother, that really was my 5th grade grandmother. So that's really my story. Does anyone else have anything they want to share? No? So we're going to conclude. Hopefully we helped somebody out there heal that was watching the live stream. If not, there are other groups that you can seek out. One is called the Griot Party Experience, of which I'm a part. We seek to heal, build, and grow. So the Griot Party Experience is on Facebook, YouTube. If you Google it, you'll find us. A griot is a storyteller and also a shaman, so to speak, in the community. I am a griot, and we are open to healing anyone. We can do online sessions as well as in-person sessions and live sessions. And the next one will be at Camp Long, August 28th, Camp Long. I want to say it starts at noon and ends at 2:30. So we'll have Suzanne come back up to wrap up. Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us, everyone. I'm sorry that more people weren't able to be here and participate with us. But I just want to thank Miz Floes. I want to thank Ty for sharing their pieces and their stories. And I want to remind everyone again that tomorrow, Saturday, August 13th, at 1 o'clock, we'll be hosting a yoga and mindfulness workshop that's being led by Satya Wellness Collective. They also do a lot of work with veterans and PTSD and with mental health. So we invite you to join us. You don't have to be a yoga practitioner, and we will have yoga mats for those who don't have yoga mats of their own. And then at 3 p.m., Warren Etheridge is going to be leading a writing as self-care workshop. And so there'll be a 90-minute workshop that we invite you to join us for that as well. And then coming up September 9th is our next Contexpo. And our next Contexpo is focusing on income inequality and the wage gap. So we hope that you will come and join us. There will be an interactive art event. There will be a pre-show lecturer and an activism brunch where you'll get to hear from a panel of experts and learn ways that you can get involved and advocate for change. So be well, and thank you for joining us. Good night.